Hi folks, Ergelt here. The subject of this video is cancer. I'm going to attempt to explain what it is and why so many people are dying of it. So, what is cancer? Our bodies are made up of cells. Within each cell is a nucleus, and in the nucleus is our DNA, molecules containing our genetic code. Cells are not invulnerable. They can suffer damage from lots of things, from bacterial infections, from viruses, from ultraviolet light from the sun, from background radiation, and from toxic molecules called carcinogens. Each year, about 550,000 people in the U.S. die from cancer. The odds are that many of my viewers will contract cancer in their lifetimes, and many will die of it. When I was a young man, all the talk in medical research was about finding a cure for cancer. In those days, the cause of cancer was not known. We all assumed that if we knew the cause, a cure would not be far behind. Today, what causes cancer is known. Damage to the DNA in our cells is the culprit. 200 years ago, cancer was very, very rare. It's not rare now. Something has happened to change our risk. So what big changes drove cancer risk so high? The first big change from 200 years ago is this: we live longer. Our bodies have more time to accumulate damage to our DNA. Why do we live longer? The consensus among scientists is that the primary reason isn't modern medicine, and it's not an improved diet. It's sanitation. The second big change is this: we industrialized. Industrial toxins in manufactured products, food, air, water, and drugs are commonplace now that did not exist or were rare 200 years ago. We are literally bathed every day in toxins that do not exist in nature. Some of these toxins are added to foods, such as aspartame. Some are produced by refining petroleum and from manufacturing chemicals and plastics. When you buy a new carpet, toxins are released into your home for months afterward. Urethane paints release toxins into the air as they dry. Groundwater becomes contaminated with chemicals dumped by corporations decades earlier. Toxins are released into the air by huge garbage incinerators operated by the waste industry. Toxins are sprayed on crops to kill insects and fungus. Toxins are spewed into the air by coal-burning electrical generating plants. Toxins are used to produce makeup. Drugs contain toxins or chemicals which promote cancer growth. I could go on and on. Every day of your life, even if you don't smoke, you are exposed to countless toxic chemicals that did not exist 200 years ago, and that's a huge difference. What I'd like to know is this: why doesn't the American Cancer Society focus on controlling toxic substances entering our food, water, air, drugs, cosmetics, and other products? If we could get rid of those toxins, our risk should subside to a much lower level. Cancer would be rare again. So why isn't that the main focus of the American Cancer Society? I'm afraid I know the answer. Toxin-producing industries are politically connected. So are the medical and drug industries, which profit from cancer. They fund the campaigns of our politicians. They funnel immense funding to mass media, who are therefore heavily influenced by their interests. And they fund the American Cancer Society, too. Hence, the American Cancer Society shows little interest in environmental toxins, hormone-mimicking chemicals, toxins added to food and beverages, waste incinerators, pollution from coal-burning electrical generating plants, and most other toxic products and byproducts of industry. Their focus is on detection and treatment of cancer. When the American Cancer Society does talk about prevention, they manage to avoid pointing at the broad problem of toxic industrial practices, instead focusing mostly on cigarettes. Cigarettes are certainly carcinogenic, but they are responsible for only a small percentage of cancers in the general population. Here's the bottom line. Most cancers are the result of toxins pumped into the air, dumped into the water, and added to food and beverages and products. The solution is to control the use and release of those toxins. That means government regulation. Failing to regulate toxins means failing to control the death rate from cancer. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration and the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency are two of the regulatory bodies responsible for the regulation of carcinogenic toxins. But if you look at who has been running these agencies, you will find executives from the very industries they regulate. They'll go back to their industry jobs when their government tour of duty ends. Hence, it's very, very difficult to get these regulatory bodies to do their jobs. It's a gigantic conflict of interest. In the U.S., we tend to think of our government as better than those of third world nations, where corruption is legendary, where nothing happens unless the skids are greased, palms lubricated with bribes. This perspective is an illusion. There are few nations on earth where corruption takes a higher human toll than in the United States. Industry is directly responsible for more than 1 million deaths a year in the U.S. from cancer, from heart disease, from lung diseases, and many more illnesses produced by the toxic effluvia from industry. And our government leaders wink and nod and happily take money from the polluters. If that isn't corruption, what is? So, cancer is mostly a political disease. Millions will die of cancer in our country because special interests control the political apparatus that could prevent it. And those same special interests dominate mass media and even the American Cancer Society. Industry, government, and even charities are telling us to look in the wrong direction. I'm not opposed to developing better tests, better drugs, better treatments for cancer. There will always be some risk of cancer, and those affected by it will be grateful to receive medical help. But the emphasis in America is crazy. We could avoid most of our cancer mortalities by electing politicians who are serious about regulating the industrial toxins that cause cancer. Thank you for watching.